Well, a virus can't be killed with a gun. However, in week 5 of a national emergency in America due to the coronavirus, gun rights, the Second Amendment right in America, has come to front stage. Not health care, not the best way to go forward as a united society to ensure safety, not anything other than reckless political games. The Second Amendment and abortion come up when someone does a bad job or someone wants to emotionally tug at society. A magician or circus act, there's no magic involved, it's deception. It's look at this, why I slide something over the table. Watch me pull this rabbit out of the hat while I scoot the table over. Deception, dodging, misdirection, shifting blame, shifting the conversation. It's all part of a political part of life, especially with manipulative people. So to me, it's nonsense that people would even care to the level they care about the Second Amendment right during a health crisis. But let's just say they have a valid reason because they're afraid government's overstepping. Here's my biggest argument to them. They don't care about the First Amendment. They don't care about the NFL players' right to take a knee. They hated the NFL players for that. They don't stand up for the right of a free press. They love fake news. That right there distinguishes you're dealing with scumbags, American dirtbags. True. Now, if they stood up for the NFL players to exercise their right for the First Amendment, then they're patriots. If they stood up for the right of freedom of press, those two things are a First Amendment right, they're patriots. But if they just cling to their gun, they're assholes. They're treasonous, just like their leader, Trump, who dodged a draft and who's lived his whole life behind gated communities. And it's a misshift for the fact that throughout the whole month of February, he did not take the proper steps to oversee our healthcare system, to put the processes and procedures in place to show leadership in a health crisis. He failed, okay, like he failed all his other businesses, his marriages as well. Most people who cling to their gun have failed in life, and their gun is the last thing they have. That's why they cling to it so much. Some of them are Christian, even though the Bible says, live by the gun and die by the gun. Jesus kind of warned you not to have a gun. That's fine, because I won't consider myself Christian. But many of them do. These are the same people that are pro-life. Same people. Most of them. But what I want to tell you here, guys, is a gun can't protect you from a bad relationship with yourself first. I saw some obese guy today, doesn't take care of himself physically, was bitching about the government shouldn't be involved in this and that. He was a government worker. He worked for a state. He's collecting a government pension. The government gave him everything in life, fed his children. And he's talking about he doesn't want the government involved. Here he is. He can't even take care of his own health. And he's saying, you should give people the right to decide their life for themselves. Well, that's fine. But he was saying that people are smart enough to figure it out for themselves. Well, this person's obviously not. But look, all I want to do is I want to end on this as far as the structured topic. Someone paralleled the fight that's going on now as the Rosa Parks moment in American history. Rosa Parks was one of the women who spurred a civil rights movement. Okay. And during a health crisis that the president ordered a national emergency, he told you it's going to kill many people, 36,000 Americans dead, 22 million unemployed. It's not fake. If it is, whatever. But why we're even talking about the Second Amendment right, it shows you the type of mind, the type of person and character that you're dealing with. Scumbags. And that's what they are. Unless they stood up for Colin Kaepernick, unless they stood up for the media, then they're patriots that want to exercise their rights to ensure a just society. However, if they mocked the NFL players, hated them even, called them son of a bitches like the president of the United States, when the NFL players exercised their First Amendment right to take a knee, he called them sons of a bitches. Okay. So all the people out there right now protesting the Second Amendment right, they're sons of a bitches. That's what they are. And just remember that, because the gun rights and the abortion rights, they come up when you're dealing with someone who failed as a leader for a healthcare crisis. Healthcare, increasing our healthcare, should be the only subject at this time, unless something changes, that should be the focus of Americans and most of the people in society, not guns. But like most people, like the guy I saw today on YouTube who work for the government, collecting a government pension and saying that people can figure life out for themselves. He can't even figure out a 2,000 calorie diet. Here's a guy, and he had a messed up childhood. Here's a guy that hasn't figured out his life, but that's fine. And I don't even care that he has a gun. I really don't, because I'm not against that. I'm just against the mindset that doesn't stand up for the other amendments, because they're just contentious people that pull you backwards in life. And it comes from a contentious leader who called other citizens sons of a bitches when they exercised their First Amendment right. I call them for what they are: bad Americans, bad people, deplorable people, unredeemable. That's the truth. That is my message tonight on how I feel in day 5. And I said that through this process, you'll see the best and worst in people. First will be a healthcare crisis. Then will be economic crisis, and then will be a civil unrest crisis, which we're kind of apt. But look, it'll eventually go away because there are a small percentage of people of society. Most of society, even that have different opinions, are very much decent people that get along. It's the extreme people in life that cause the biggest problem in society. Oh, never forget it. Small percentage of people make the most noise and they're the biggest thorn in the side of the regular people in the world. Biggest thorn. And like I say, if they didn't stand up for the First Amendment, and there's a reason the First Amendment came first and the second came second. But these people don't have priorities in their life. And that's why if you look at their life, beyond their gun, they failed in life. Their gun is their last thing in life. They're not patriots. They're deplorables. Big difference. Okay. Big difference, in my opinion. And take a hydration break. We'll see what you guys got to say, if anything. If not, we'll go from there. Fuji water coming at you. Oh, yeah. I like that. Cloudy day today in New Jersey. Pretty nasty. Very depressing. But just keep going forward. How do you get through bad days, bad times? You got to take life one day at a time. Very challenging, though, as we go into week 6 here tomorrow of a national lockdown. Keeping up with Bree. Thank you for that super chat. She goes, hey you, keeping up with Bree. You got a couple of compliments on your video. It's great to see you. Love to you. I hope you're holding up good. Happy again, 25th birthday. Bree turned 25 this week. I told my mom today, Bree, I was saying that obviously my first level of compassion during this crisis goes to the elderly people in senior citizens' home. Because during a healthcare crisis, who do I think about the most? I think about those who are most vulnerable with regards to their health. I don't think about a gun. But I was telling her, Ma, I said, Ma, really, my heart breaks for the seniors in these senior citizen homes. But really, my heart breaks for all the young people who like have a prom that maybe they're not going to be able to go to the prom, or if they do go to the prom, they're going to have to wear a face mask. Or the young people that want to go to a club to like get with someone. And you go to a club, I don't even know if they'll ever open a club this year, but then you got to wear a face mask. I think we'll be wearing face masks for the next year, my opinion. Even as they gradually reopen society, I think we'll be wearing face masks for the next year. So I think about that, Bree, as you're 25 this week. I think about all the younger people, that's a tough thing. Because when you're young, going out and feeling pretty or getting with each other, that's a big part of life, And, I'm sure people still find a creative way to get with each other. But with social distancing, and when you're young, being social is a big part of life. And it's an important part of life. It is. And so I just want to let you know that. Thank you again, Bree, for that love. I appreciate you. Pluto, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Shout out to Florida. I miss Florida every day I'm up in New Jersey, man. Today was, like I said, very cloudy, dreary, windy. And I always look at the temperature in Florida. And I said, Sam, you could be sweating in Florida. I'd probably be about 10 pounds lighter. I'd be able to see at least some beautiful women walking around. And even though they would have face masks on, I wouldn't be able to see them completely. But I could see that ass. Damn, I miss Florida. Not much up here, man, but pretty nasty sights here. But I'm looking still at the housing market in Florida and the RV market. I would prefer to have some type of RV with no house. But like I say, everyone's kind of waiting for the economy to reopen, so no one's really trying to sell anything for cheap. Now, if this lasts into the end of this year and the economy does take a hit and it starts to show, you can't go buy a stock market because that's propped up by the Fed. But if the real economy goes a period of time without money flowing properly, then people will start to look to sell property or RVs cheaper. So I'm hoping in the second half of the year that I'll be able to have an opportunity, possibly. Bowling Thug, what's up, man? Top 3 reasons why USA has more deaths per case. That's a good question. Top 3 reasons. 1 is lack of preparation. 2 is lack of admission. And 3 is money comes before both of the top 2 things, and that's why America has the number 1 highest toll of deaths. Because cream, cash rules everything around me. Trump was notified in January that this was a major issue, and I don't want to hear the argument that China or the WHO, the World Health Organization, didn't tell us, because we have a CIA. We spent more money on the military in the past 3 years than any other time in history. Are you trying to tell me we don't have intelligence program? So even if you say China lied to us, if we didn't have intelligence, knowing that there was an issue and that we need to prepare, then it's America's fault. So that goes back to number 1, being prepared. Number 2 is lack of preparation. It's a lack of heeding the advice of scientists. Trump goes by his gut. He's a risk taker. And that when it works out, it works great. And he looks smart. And he's even said that. But guys, you can only go by your gut and be right so many times because you're not God. You're not President God. And if you are, or if you think you are, God will humble you. God will take the best economy ever, the highest Dow Jones average, and just like that, God can stop life, man. In the old days, in the Bible, an unrighteous, wicked leader was humbled by a plague. And that's what we're faced here in 2020 in the modern world. So the bottom line is, we didn't adhere to science, we didn't prepare, and we prolonged the necessary precautions because we value the dollar above all else. America, I truly believe this, Bowling Thug, America will collapse eventually until we stop worshiping the Dow Jones average. We have to separate pensions, 401ks, and dignity of retirement with the Dow Jones average. And if we don't separate that, there's nothing wrong with having a stock market. There's nothing wrong with publicly traded companies. There's nothing wrong with taking risk in the marketplace. But that cannot be the indicator of health in a society. That can't be like your fuel gauge in your car. Because if it is, what you're saying is this country operates off the dollar bill only. And we put that before health. America is the only country in the world without universal health care. It's a health care problem, not a gun problem. Why does America have the number one? We're number one. Trump said we'll be number one. We're number one in deaths in the world. Thank you, Trump. You made us number one again. Why? I'll tell you why. Because in week 5, going into week 6 of a national lockdown, we're talking about guns. We're talking about guns. Not healthcare capacity. Not working together to open up the society responsible with testing. Right now, the biggest debate should be the federal government and the states working together to get some testing program together. Instead, we're debating guns. And the government is inciting people to protest with a Rosa Parks mindset. That's a disgrace. Alice, looking good. Well, I appreciate that because I don't feel my best. Love to you, Alice. Shout out to PA. Pennsylvania's in the house. I'm doing my best, Alice, because, I'm still eating decently. I thank God that I got out of obesity and my eating habits are pretty good. I mean, I'm not eating ideal, but I'm eating better. Like some people tell me, thank you again, Alice. Some people tell me that, Sam, I can't vote for Joe Biden because I just don't feel he's a great choice. And I tell you, well, that's fine, but then you're saying you feel Donald Trump is a better choice. Okay. I didn't feel Donald Trump was a better choice than Hillary Clinton. And I don't feel Donald Trump is a better choice than Joe Biden. His argument now is if Joe Biden gets in, China will take over. Guys, do you know America just lost 36,000 lives, 36,000 dead in 5 weeks, 22 million unemployed? How worse can Joe Biden do? If Trump is winning with China right now, guys, there's nothing but higher up can Joe Biden do. So I say all that to say, when I go into a gas station or a convenience store, I may not have the ideal choices. I may not have, like I say, the tofu, the beans, the fresh food that I need to eat my best. I may not have the gym open. But what do? I do the best I can. Instead of eating sloppy Joe, I have like some type of lean chicken sandwich, okay? Light on the bread. Instead of me, spending 20 minutes working out every day in the gym, I go for an extra walk. I make the best choice with what's available to me. Not perfect, but better. So I appreciate you telling me I look good, Alice. I appreciate your tip. Shout out to Pennsylvania. Good to see you, Kamala. Oh, South Florida. South Florida makes my heart melt right now, man. Love to you. Your environment matters, guys. Your environment matters so much. What is your environment? It's not just temperature. Your environment is not just temperature. It's temperature and culture. What is culture? Culture is people in a mindset. People in a mindset. And when there's a culture of guns over health and well-being, you have a bad culture. You can have beautiful weather, but a bad culture. South Florida got good culture, in my opinion. And they got a very, 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 I would say it's a liberal gun state. They also had a school shooting, 2 years ago in Parkland. Another nut job with a gun that shouldn't have had it. There was red flags. No one took his gun away. You remember that. You remember that gun shooting when after that Trump said he was going to arm the public school teachers because that would keep our children safer. Children now in schools in America, they have gun drills. Like I remember going to school, you had a fire drill. They got gun drills. Because the gun culture in America is not that you have a rifle for hunting, you have a pistol, you have a weapon that you took for self-defense, or a weapon that you got from the army and you took back home. The gun culture now is a first game shooter. I'm loaded for Armageddon. I want to buy 20 guns per month because it's my right. Not taking care of themselves physically, mentally, or emotionally. They're totally not taking care of themselves physically, mentally, or emotionally. And they want to rack up on all the guns and ammo they have. When the healthcare crisis of the coronavirus came, they didn't say, oh, let me make sure I get my immune system up. They said, let me load up on all the fucking guns I can. That's the type of culture some people are. It's a disgrace. But I thank you, Alice, for your love. Thank you for hanging with me. Shout out to Pennsylvania. I'm close to Pennsylvania. I drove through. I don't know if you saw my video going through Philly. And thank you again, Bree, for the tip. Let's continue to read the live comments. Norma. Hey, Norma. Shout out to Maryland and Georgia. Hey, Sam. Good to see you. It's good to see you, Norma. I know it's not easy because we're still dealing with cold weather up in the Northeast here. And we came from the Southeast. But we got to hang in there one day at a time, one step at a time. See me? What? I just wasted all those bullets for nothing? Hey, guys, look. If you need more bullets during a health crisis, you need a new brain, not a new gun. Never forget it. Pluto, thank you for the food advice. You got it, brother. I appreciate you. It was a good question. I'm trying to eat lots of salads, eggs, breads. Do the best you can. Definitely, and I do agree with trying to reopen the country as fast as we can. That's why I would love for us to be talking more about testing than guns. Because, guys, I'm not one of these people that let's keep the country locked down for 2 years. I see the negative effects it has on society. So, I know right now it's harder for people physically, emotionally, mentally. And you got to be more diligent because the food choices aren't that great. You can't work out, especially if you're in a cold state. But I saw a video the other day, doctor trying to get to, or nurse trying to get to the hospital. There was protesters in the street about guns. Got delayed going to the hospital to take care of the sick because people wanted to exercise their right about guns. That's fine. Did they stand with the NFL players when they exercised their right? No, because they're not patriots. They're anarchists. That's the difference. The only way. I mean, you could tell. You could tell this is a disgrace. Pluto, thank you for the food advice. Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Uncle Arthur, man, great to see you. Thank you for that thumbs up. See me? I think my 2A friends want ammo right now. Out of fear of economic collapse. They believe that they will have to defend their property, food, resources. Well, look, I'm not against it, okay? What I am against is that being the primary point of conversation. Because I would like to look at your friend's history in their life, okay? I would like to see the quality of their relationships, the quality of their job, and the quality of their mind. And if they have a history, just like Trump, a recurring history of borderline racist, borderline division, and nastiness, if that's the type of life they lead, I say, fuck your friends, because they're going to destroy your life, man. Because let me tell you something. If that's their mindset, I can almost guarantee you, you know what I mean? They used to call me a prophet, but I don't put myself on a pedestal, but I can almost guarantee I could prophesize their future. And guess what? Don't look too bright. Don't look too bright. Okay. But that's my opinion. 79 Sweetness. I like that name. Hello to you. Bree, thank you again, and God bless you. 25 years old. I'm going to be 40 this year. A couple months. God bless you. Charles, good evening. Some good evening to you. I appreciate you too, man. It's good to talk to you guys. Shane, hope you're doing good, man. Thank you for that positive comment. Carlos, another South Florida guy, man. I love South Florida. Hey, Sam, it's great to see you too, man. Thank you for that palm tree and that peace emoji. Ball and Thug, thank you again. That was a great question, man. I answered it. You asked good questions, brother. You got a good mind on you, man. Big Wigs, I hope we get additional stimulus. Well, I hope so too. I mean, I think it was, again, I think a one-time $1,200 check was a smack in the face to every working class and just every middle class person. And they left out the upper middle class. And you still don't have health care. Health care, number one cause of bankruptcy. And we spent trillions to pump up the stock market and to buy junk bonds. Canada is getting $2,000 per month for a while. They have universal health care. So to me, it was an insult. Because, guys, who's paying back the other trillions that went to the corporations? The taxpayers, okay? I don't know if you know that, like, that's where that comes out of. Who is running the Secretary of Treasury? An ex-Goldman Sachs executive, Steve Mnuchin. He was sued for fraud when he was on Wall Street. Now he's Trump's top financial advisor for the country. And we're debating guns, not corruption. Guys, shows you the mindset. That's why Trump goes to the guns, because he knows he's pandering to people who aren't thinking that intellectually about society. They're just thinking about, let me get some more ammo. Fucking disgrace. It really is. Hate to say it. Milano, Sammy, is hot in Florida. I know, 105. I actually would like that. Right now, if you say, Sam, would you rather 105 degrees or 50 degrees? I'd rather 105. However, I can't do it now with no campground, with no air conditioning. If I had a home base in Florida, and if I had air conditioning with an RV or campground, I would be down there, no problem. But again, I do regret not buying that tiny home or that RV lot this winter. I got to admit, guys, right now I regret that. But I'm trying to just be positive and not beat myself up. And hopefully something better is going to come up. But I love the heat, guys. I know it gets nasty in Florida. I spent 2 summers in Florida. But in my opinion, in my experience, 37 years living in New Jersey, 2 living in Florida, I rather just come to New Jersey during the fall, during the end of August, September, and a little bit October, because that's when Florida is really tough with the hurricanes, and that's when the fall season up north is the only nice season. The springtime is horrible. Guys, today is spring. We're at the end of April. It was 50 degrees, windy, cloudy, and nasty. Okay. And it's going to be like that all the way till June. And in June, I don't know what they're going to do up here, if they're going to allow people to go to Jersey Shore or what, because that's going to be a disaster. You're going to have people, like, that's a tourist spot. People from all over. Are you going to allow them to go on the boardwalks, on the amusement rides with masks? I don't know, man. So there'll be a lot of bankruptcy, too. Love to you, brother, and love to South Florida. Big wigs. We deserve health care. I agree. It's the least we can do after we bail out the corporations. Yet the DNC has screwed us yet again. Well, I don't think the DNC. I think the GOP. Because Obama tried to get us universal health care. Joe Biden wants to give you Medicare at 60. Okay. Trump dismantled Obamacare. Trump has been in office for 4 years. All he passed was tax cuts for the wealthy. 36,000 Americans dead, 22 million unemployed. We have a health care crisis, not a gun crisis. And we have a president who has never had to really come out of his pocket to pay health care, because he's the wealthiest, most elite president ever. Grew up his whole life the most privileged of society. So I think factually it'll show the GOP does not want to give you health care. They want to take away your Social Security. They want to take away your Medicare. Joe Biden wants to at least lower Medicare to 60. So if you're 60 like Milano, who just retired at 62, he can at least get health care. All the Canadians that come to Florida, they have health care since their birth. It's their birthright that the government takes care of basic health rights. And that's a beautiful country. We live in a capitalist, corrupt country. I truly believe it. It's getting worse. The wealth gap is getting bigger. And I guarantee you, all those people clutching their gun, okay, they don't care. They want their gun over health care. They do. And I guarantee if you look at their life, that mindset, that culture shows. Or they're farmers who get subsidized by the government. Farmers are the biggest welfare queens in America. They don't hire Americans, just like Trump, because Trump hires foreign workers at Mar-a-Lago. And they take government subsidies. That's the farmers. We don't even want to talk about the corporations. So let's continue. Alice, I love you, and I appreciate you. Shout out to PA. 79 Sweetness. That's a catchy name. 79 Sweetness. It's like blaming others for their bad and praising self when they think they did good. Look at me. Trump is a narcissist. He has a recurring pattern of failed relationships, of corrupt people being around him, and of just being a nasty, rude person. And he won't change. He'll be like that till the day he dies. You can't make him feel compassion, empathy, or be a good leader. He is exactly who we knew he was. We knew he was a grab him by the pussy, clutch your gun, circus entertainer. That's all he's ever been. That's all he ever will be. And most of the people who follow them, they're okay with that. Because they were more concerned about emails with Benghazi, where 4 Americans died. They don't care about 36,000 Americans died because Donald Trump did not take action quick enough. He's still, to this day, not focusing on healthcare. He's talking about guns and liberating states. He's a total disgrace to America. He dodged a draft. He's not a patriot. He was basically almost convicted of treason. Guys, he's a treasonous man, okay? You do need your gun if he's the president because he's trying to destroy this country. You could basically make the argument that Donald Trump has almost single-handedly destroyed America. 22 million unemployed, 36,000 dead. Guys, you are looking at a country that basically went to shit because you have a president who failed you. And if we have the strongest military in the world, where was our surveillance over China to regulate this biological weapon? Because even if it's a natural Mother Nature's virus, it has to be treated like a biological weapon. But they didn't do that because he's a corrupt, bad leader. BRN, forgive me for saying the name wrong, Madiz, $5 super chat. Well, damn it, brother, let that light shine on your profile picture. And thank you for the tip, my man. I appreciate that. Forgive me for saying your tag name wrong, Madiz. God bless you, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your love, man. Appreciate your support. Don't take it for granted. I don't. And I thank you, brother. God bless you, man. All right, let's continue to be good people, man. I appreciate you. Kamal, Sam, I need some of that South Florida vibes. I really do, Kamal. I really do. But I'm thankful. I want to just be thankful. I mean, I got to be thankful or else I'm going to just cave mentally. And I got to remember to take life one day at a time or else I'm going to cave mentally. So right now, I just got to stick to a routine, which is waking up early, trying to stay productive, trying to eat relatively healthy, and just make it to a brighter day. You know what I mean? And right now, I'm just trying to make it to brighter days, man. I mean, that's all I can do. Thank you, though. Kamal. Is Kamal Sam just like that? Not like Kamala Harris. Okay. Gotta go, though. Okay. Forgive me for saying it wrong. Just like that, not like Kamala Harris. Okay. Camille? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but love to you, man. Bigwigs. The R party and the D party have been gaming for decades. Well, to some extent, I said that's a fair comment. Why not vote third party? Because one is, right now, if you vote for a third party, you're basically voting for Trump. If the third party had enough support, and if they were legit enough, I would vote for them. Because I'm not, like, tied that I have to be Democratic, but I want mostly Democratic principles, which if we're going to go in debt, I want universal health care, I want to lower the Social Security age, and that's how I feel. Jones, 1963, $5 super chat. Hey, Sam, glad you are doing good. I'm trying my best. Thank you for the tip. You are spot on tonight. Thank you, on fire. Love and peace. Well, Jones, thank you. Like you guys saw, like you saw last night, I blocked someone who has come on my channel for the past 2 years, gave me a super chat. Because guys and girls, like I tell you, eliminate bad people from your life, even if they provide a level of financial income. Because you don't want to sell yourself for the dollar. You don't. You need money. You got to work for money. It's a game. And in business now, again, I treat YouTube like business and personal. And I understand, like, when you go to Walmart, you can't tell someone to just get out of the chat room. If you work at Walmart, if you work at a corporation. But, like, for me, social media, and YouTube is the only social media I have at this point. I deactivated my other ones. It's an outlet for me to connect socially and a side hustle. But, I mean, a part of it, half of it is social. I want to be around people I vibe with, beyond the money. Why? Because that's peace of mind. Like I always tell you guys, there's a lot of people you're going to meet in life that get divorced. And divorce is a horrible thing. I don't wish it on people. Donald Trump knows about divorce. He's been divorced a couple times. But divorce, as bad as it is, what I've heard a lot of people, including my mother, say, is that even at a financial loss, sometimes it's best or necessary to separate yourself from someone because you need peace of mind. Guys, I never pander to you that money doesn't matter. It does, especially in America. I mean, in the world, though, too. I got to be fair. And I understand money. I did a video saying that I would not, if I ran the world or the country, I wouldn't eliminate money because you need a structure that rewards the productive and the innovative. However, everyone deserves some level of basic dignity, okay? Basic health care, basic income. And the strong and the smart have a responsibility to look after those less fortunate. So I understand money. Money plays an important part of life. But there's times in your life that you're going to have to make a decision. Is money your God, or is it just a resource? And are you going to live below your means so that you don't have to sell your soul for the dollar bill? Because guys, whether it's your parent, whether it's a job that, and even if you're going to quit your job, I always tell you guys, give 2-week notice, secure another job, even if it's toxic, as best you can, unless there's abuse. But guys, never stay in an abusive relationship or a toxic job too long without responsibly getting out. Because guys, look, life, no matter what, no matter who you vote for, no matter what your mindset, we're all going to die, okay? We're all terminally ill. And as best you can, you want to live a good life. As best you can. And a good life, a big part of it is being around good people. All right? And everyone defines good people differently. Like for some people, being around their type of people, their culture is being around people that are walking around with guns during a health crisis. That's not my type of people. That's not my culture. I want to be around people right now that are delivering food to food banks. Okay. I want to be around people, okay, that are focused on a healthcare crisis, not a gun crisis. Okay. Because why? Because guys, I've worked at soup kitchens. Okay. Before the virus. Okay. And throughout life, and I believe in self-protection, also throughout my life. But it's not my culture. It's not my, to me, a form of protection, a gun, a knife, anything else, is there as last resort when needed. And that right should be preserved. But again, if the same people who are hoarding guns right now did not stand up for the NFL players taking a knee, they are not patriots. They're treasonous scumbags. Bad culture. They blame the NFL players for destroying the culture in America. That's true. That's how Trump won. That's why I totally think Trump is the biggest hypocrite in the world. Because if he cared about the country and the amendments, he would have stood next to Colin Kaepernick, even if he disagreed. I disagreed with Colin Kaepernick's personality, but I agreed with his right to protest. His right to peacefully take a knee. Not hold a rally in the middle of a healthcare crisis, in the middle of the street, stopping nurses from going to a hospital. That is a disgrace. That's a culture. That's a mindset. I tell you guys all the time, there's two parts of an environment: climate and culture. Never forget it. See me? 199 super chat. I appreciate that, man. Give me a microphone emoji. I didn't even know the microphones had, I didn't even know they had a microphone emoji that big, man. Thank you, brother. I'll preach it a little bit. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats, man. Thank you for the love. Let me take hydration break, man. Thank you. Emoji make you smile. Even the gun emoji, even though it's bad like that, the emoji make you smile. Look like a super soaker. Anybody ever have a super soaker when they were young, like the water gun? Let's continue to read the live comments. Let's see here. Where were we at? I think we read Big Wisdom, 79 Sweetness. I told people a long time ago that love Trump, and I see what Trump does next brainwash, I think. Look, guys, to me, I would not be making videos during a healthcare crisis about Trump if he didn't start like these divisive things that he's been doing these past couple weeks. Because if you go back and look factually at my videos, Even though I always told you I voted for Hillary, even though I always told you that's my mindset, I wasn't making videos 2 months ago about Trump, even when the virus hit. I was making videos when his leadership got worse and worse and worse. Okay. And I knew it was coming. I told people when he got elected, he's a short-term victory with long-term bad results. He has a recurring pattern in all his ventures in life that they spike up and then they crash down. That is fact. 6 businesses went bankrupt. I went to the Taj Mahal Casino in New Jersey. It was glorious. It was one of the most biggest, wealthiest casinos. Great. And what happened to it? It went totally bankrupt. His friend Carl Icahn bought it, who's in the oil industry now that Trump subsidizes. And it was a total disgrace. And the regular people got wiped out. And people voted for Trump because of the NFL players. Because the NFL players took a knee. That was the biggest issue. That's why you see the flags. They did not stand with an American's right for the exercise their First Amendment. They didn't stand with them. So there's no way I'm going to stand with them now for their Second Amendment right. Why would I stand with someone who didn't stand for another citizens to exercise their right? They only want their right for their gun. They're fucking hypocrites. They're deplorables. They are. Let's say it. They're deplorable, unredeemable people. In my opinion. I hope God does redeem them. I hope they get grace. But I'm not some fake Christian like Trump who committed adultery, who's committed fraud, who basically instigates violence. I'll just tell you right now, I'd rather be considered atheists and just say they're deplorable and not be disingenuous, because I think that's more honorable to God. Because I never committed adultery. I've never frauded someone, never claimed bankruptcy. I've worked in soup kitchens. Okay. So what I can tell you is this. I'm not going to take advice from some elitist who's never slept at a truck stop with other truckers, never's worked at a soup kitchen, never's dealt with those in society that need help. His whole life is, what can you do for me? And the minute you can't do it for me, I treat you like a nasty person, because he's a deplorable, unredeemable soul, in my opinion. Let's continue. Bigwigs. The purpose of right to bear arms was not for hunting or self-defense, but for means of uprooting corrupt rulers. Well, like I say, I got no problem with the Second Amendment right. I got a problem people exercising that right now during a healthcare crisis while they didn't stand with the NFL players for exercising their First Amendment right. So, guys, if Trump would have stood with Colin Kaepernick, then he could tweet right now whatever he wants about the Second Amendment. But he didn't. So he doesn't care about the amendments. He cares about winning an election. He cares about the stock market. He cares about himself. Period. So let's not act like it's really about the Second Amendment right. It's about a deflection of attention off his failed leadership for a healthcare crisis. So let's divert it to a gun crisis. That's what it's about. One of his advisors, official advisors, called this a Rosa Parks moment. Guys, that is a disgrace. Okay? How you can compare a healthcare crisis with people lining the street with their guns to the civil rights movement, to me, it shows that he is the same guy who called for the death penalty for the Central Five, even though science proved through DNA they were not guilty. He's a science denier. And because he denied science, you have 36,000 Americans dead under his watch. Just like under Bush's watch, you had 9/11. All fact. Okay. He's been in office for 4 years. He's in charge of the intelligence program. He's the commander-in-chief. So if we didn't have intelligence on China, that's not China's fault. That's the commander-in-chief's fault. ISIS didn't kill 36,000 Americans. Terrorism did not kill 36,000 Americans. Healthcare crisis did. And a failed leader that doesn't respect science, data, and intelligence pander to you about ISIS. Now you got 36,000, the blood of their deaths on the hands of someone who could have took better steps and could be handling this better. That's what it is. And the people who support them are just as deplorable. Hillary Clinton had it right. It's a bunch of deplorable people who support that type of mindset. It is what it is. That's who they are. They'll probably claim they're Christian too. You'd be better off just saying, look, I'm atheist. I don't give a fuck. I want my gun. Shut the fuck up. I'll be fine with that. But don't tell me like Starbucks got to do Christmas. Remember, Trump said there was an attack on Christmas. So he had to make Starbucks try to act like they should get Christmas cups. But that's another violation of the First Amendment right, where you could worship any religion. You could be Muslim, Hindu, atheist. That's your First Amendment right. People with a gun right now, they're probably the same people that didn't want a mosque or whatever type of religious thing built in their community. These people don't care about the amendments. They care about a culture that's backwards in America, that's damaging in America. That's why the majority of Americans voted for Hillary Clinton, but Trump won by an electoral vote. Now, look, guys, even if he gets voted in again, I don't care. I will speak on what I disagree with. Okay. I will exercise my First Amendment right, like the NFL players, and I'll probably get shamed like the NFL players, because that's the type of person that Trump and his followers are. And I don't stand with them, and I never will. Let's continue to read. Norman, just went through the gun debate with two of my nephews. It's like a lost cause. I'm just sharing now with a bunch of people that are hopefully like-minded. If they're not, I block them. But it's a lost cause. Like I said, I went on some guy's website today or some YouTube, Twitter. He worked for the government his entire life. He worked for a state parks program. He's got a pension from the government. The government fed his family and is taking care of his health care. He's against universal health care, even though he gets his retirement health care from the government. Even though he gets his pension from the government. The government gave him everything in life. Now he's some type of overweight person who can't even control his diet. He's talking about the government don't control me. He's a disgrace. You can't talk to that person. And they don't want to talk to you. They're out there. And then she was talking to two people about the gun debate today. They are wanting to buy a bunch of guns because we have to wear face masks. They are so angry about it. It's misdirection. Trump said today in his press conference that gun sales were the highest ever during the beginning of this crisis, which I can understand. I mean, it was a scary time, so I don't have a problem. Guys, I don't have a problem with the Second Amendment, believe it or not. I mean, unless you are mentally unfit. If you have a psychological problem, you should not have a gun. I believe in that. But outside of that, I got a problem with Trump and the staged protest. Like, remember Trump said he was getting staged protest at his rallies? These protests are, if you look at how they're organized, they're funded through a GOP, a PAC, a conservative PAC organization is funding these protests. Okay. Remember when they said the Black Lives Matter protest, they were funded by a liberal group? These protests are funded by a conservative group. So if these people didn't like it when Black Lives Matter groups were, why do they like it when these other groups? Because they're hypocrites. They don't want people really marching unless it's about guns. Do they want Black Lives Matter marching? No, they hated that. They want gun matters, though. That's what they want. They're hypocrites. I know who they are. They're deplorables. So that, look, it is what it is. You can't argue with that. They're going to die, that type of person. However, they're a small percentage of society. But Trump knows that. Trump knows that he failed, and now he's got to misdirect. He's got to invoke a level of a divisive emotional issue to redirect from his factual missteps. That throughout the month of February, he did nothing. He was alerted about this in January. He did nothing in February. Nothing in the beginning of March. And where are we at now at the end of April? 36,000 Americans dead, not from a gun, but from a virus. And if Trump is the commander-in-chief with the strongest army ever, where was his job in overseeing the government intelligence? He failed. So that's what I think. See me? I totally agree with you, by the way. Thank you, brother. Life is short. Thumbs up and heart. Thank you. Apathy. Hey, Sam, crazy that people are protesting to get back to work. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with reopening America as long as it's responsible. But we're not debating about masks and testing. We're debating about guns. At least today, that's what the subject was about. That's what our president invoked yesterday with his tweet. He didn't invoke like, you better demand from your state that you get proper testing in a healthcare crisis. He said they're trying to make a siege on your guns. What a disgrace, deplorable. And all his followers online that type in all caps that have horrible mental health, and just for the fact that their mental health is so bad, they should have their gun rights revoked. Okay. But I have no problem with people saying, look, I want to go back in society responsibly. I'm not mad at that, and evaluate as things go. But you really can't evaluate if we're doing good or bad without testing. So let's spur the governors and the federal government to get on their job with testing, not about guns. So it's a disgrace. It really is. And then she goes, and they are all huddled together, no masks. Yeah, they're totally disobeying their leader, President Trump. Saw it in Michigan. It's a disgrace. Life is too short, says. We have the mafia running our government. Well, Trump used to do deals with the mafia in New York City because he was born in New York City, not in Kentucky, not in Virginia. He was born in New York City. He made his money in a liberal city. Okay. Trump's family is from New York City. He made his money in New York City. And what I could tell you is that when he was coming up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the mafia owned construction in New York. And he worked with them. And above the mafia, the Italian mafia, he's part of the corporate mafia. Corporations run the world. With Ronald Reagan, they started to take away the unions. And that was the mafia's in on society because they controlled the Teamsters and other unions. Those are gone, man. You don't get pensions anymore. You get 401ks, and you don't have any say. Corporations run the world. Steve Jobs, Tim Cook, all the oil companies, they run the world. Not a deep state, corporate state. This was another money grab. But you don't have, what you have is the wealthiest president ever who never showed you his tax returns, even though he demanded that Obama show you his birth certificate. What a disgrace that was. He's leading it. The wealthiest president ever, the most elite, is leading a healthcare crisis and talking about guns. Why? Because it's a misdirection for people who are misinformed and have mental illness. That's true. Keeping up a break. Trump is garbage. I pretty much agree with that. I think he's a deplorable person. BRM Des. Massachusetts weather sucks. I can understand that. I know a couple of good people from Massachusetts. Thank you again. BM Des for your tip and for your comments, brother. God bless you, man, with that Duke emoji. Bone Thug. Do you have a take on Tillman Furtado's opinions of reopening? I don't know her stance, so I don't want to comment uninformed on that. So I don't want to. But in general, on reopening, I'm for reopening responsibly with testing and with a gradual evaluation. So I'm not per se opposed to that, but I don't know her specific comments. I would love to hear your take on it. Doesn't have to be today. Okay, I'll research it because I don't know enough now to make a comment. Thank you. Milano, yes, 105 degrees in Miami, Fahrenheit, and it's only going to get hotter. But usually in Florida, you're good till August. Then it gets real nasty. You running your generator, Milano? How's everything in the park, Milano? You guys still allowed to park there without any problems? 79 sweetness. So you sound like you would be better in a tiny home or small pull trailer because of hurricanes. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, sweetness. You know, I really want to avoid a single family or condo. In one sense, I really would think of a tiny pull trailer maybe and just keep doing 1,000 trails because then I never have to pay for utilities. I never have any maintenance. I never have any obligation. But I don't know if that solves the problem with my mom long term. I would like to have some place where if my mom wanted to next winter, she could come. But there's entanglements here, like I said, with other siblings, with my mom. And I don't want to buy a house, per se, just for that. And, you know, my mom down the road not be here and I'll be stuck with a house, so I may rent. I don't know, man. I'm praying that, you know, I get a clarity on what to do. When in doubt, I want to keep it simple. But if you ask me today, do I have a regret? Yes. If I'm honest with you, as today, I may change. But there was a tiny home I looked at for about $125,000 and sold for, and an RV lot for $100,000. I wish I would have bought one of them. Now I may come to regretting it because maybe a hurricane comes and it wipes it out. But I don't know, man. You can't live in the past. I have to go forward, like all of us do. We all have regrets in life, and I got to be thankful for what I have. Shane, MLK said, judge a person by their character. We should do that, whatever looking at the next president. I agree, but guys, look, there's going to be no perfect president, but I agree. But I tell you right now, if you give me the option of Trump is the president and the person running against him is a dead squirrel, I'll vote for a dead squirrel because I think a dead squirrel has a better character than Donald Trump. So even though I think Joe Biden may go to sleep his entire 4 years he's in office, I still think he would do better than 36,000 Americans dead and 22 million unemployed. So that's how I feel about that. Thank you again, B. Madas. God bless you, man. Shout out to Massachusetts. Michael, what's up, man? Why would China own the U.S. if Sleepy Joe gets elected? Because I think Sleepy Joe, I don't know all the facts, but they say his family has some ties with China, but so did Trump's family. Trump used to get his ties manufactured in China. He has interest in China just like he does in Saudi Arabia and in Russia. Okay. So all of them are tied into the global markets. Clinton was, Trump was, and so is Biden. They're all tied in. Clinton went to Trump's wedding. So they're all tied in at that level. Right? So, however, if you say, Sam, Joe Biden is too corrupt with China, something bad will happen. Well, guys, if you're saying that Trump isn't tied in with China, and if Trump is saying that China caused this virus and deceived him, and 36,000 Americans are dead and 22 million unemployed, guys, how bad can it get with Joe? It can only go up, right? So I think Trump failed you with his quote-unquote good relations with China, and I think that's factually proven. Yeah. 79 Sweetness. Look at Trump's financial background. Well, we can't be, yeah, but it is pathetic in general, but we can't look at the specifics because he's still hiding his tax returns, but you're right. Life is short. Thumbs up. Well, thank you for everyone who takes the effort to click that thumbs up. Can we get 100 people to click that thumbs up? Right now, I got 60 people in live chat. Guys, click that thumbs up if you haven't. Thank you. And thank you again for the super chat love. So today, what's up? Coming from a state that voted for Trump, I can say that only two types of people like Trump, the rich and the dumb. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I tend to feel the same way. I'm sure there's some good people sprinkled in, and I do know some people personally who voted for Trump. I respect them as people. I've worked with them. I've seen some of their intelligence, and they've helped me in some ways. So, but in my general opinion, even some of them said to me, like, Sam, look, I kind of like closed my eyes, or they were doing it in spite of Hillary Clinton. But, like, you know, I understand their mindset, some of them, but it's still not right. But I, you know, again, I treat YouTube like my personal space. Would I tell someone I work with that, you know, I think they're deplorable? No, not in my job, you know, not even in the street, because that's not the proper place to cause conflict. But I tell you, in my personal life, whether you're my father or my coworker, in my personal life, I want my personal space to express my personal opinions. And I'll work with anyone, guys, as long as they're not abusive. If they're abusive, I will document and report. But in my personal space, I do not want to be around anyone who has the mindset of Trump. That's how I feel. That's how I live. So that's how I look at it. Good job. BRN MDes. Hugs from crappy capital weather, Massachusetts. You guys are strong in Massachusetts, man. Laughing. Thank you so much. Jones, God bless you again, Jones. Thank you for all your support. And I love that profile pic. Hey, Sam, glad you're doing good. You're spot on tonight. I appreciate you saying love and peace, Jones. And I appreciate your support as a viewer. God bless you, Jones. Love to you. Love that profile pic. Rick Chan, what's up, brother? How many steps are you averaging these days? Pretty constantly. I'm always at a minimum of 10,000 steps on average. Usually it's above that. But with the cold weather, like it was cold today, I'm probably just at my average of 10,000 steps, which is approximately 5 miles. I spread it out. I do, after I have my coffee and my banana, my protein bar, I go for a walk. Then I take a break. I have lunch or whatever. I go for another walk after lunch. I take a break. I go on in the afternoon. So usually 3 or 4 major walks throughout the day. And I try to get up like every hour and just stretch. So I try to keep busy all day. That's what really keeps my sanity. Waking up early, staying busy, staying productive, even on the weekends. Because without that, I don't go to sleep on time. If I don't go to sleep on time and I'm up all night, that's bad mental health. It destroys your immune system. Like for me, during a healthcare crisis, I'm trying to really focus in on my health. I'm trying to think, how can I keep on a healthy schedule, keep my mental and physical health together? I'm not thinking about hoarding guns. I have no problem with self-protection. I have no problem with reopening the economy. But guys, my mindset, okay, it's on my being my best self. Even more so in an emergency. Not on what type of gun I want to own. You know what I mean? So it's a totally different mindset. It really is. Kamal says, yes, is Kamal that corrects us. Intelligence warned Trump about the virus end of last year. Yep. But he dismissed it. Just like he dismissed climate change, and that's coming too. Warning, same as Bush before 9/11. In August of 2001, the Trump administration was warned of planes attacking. In September, 9/11 happened. 3,000 Americans died. Right now, we got 36,000 Americans died and counting. And the same thing, 2 months earlier, our president and their administration was warned. He did nothing. He took the risk because he didn't want to crash the economy. That's fact. And he's pushing to open up early because he doesn't want to crash the economy. And I'm okay with that if he's leading a conversation around, I'm going to work with these states to get the testing, get everything you need, we're going to reopen. But he's talking about guns and making the parallel statement to a civil rights movement about guns in the middle of a healthcare crisis. It's a total disgrace. It really is. Uncle Arthur, peace and heart. Thank you. Cameron, what's up, brother? Shout out to Kansas, man. Sam, there's nothing to do here, man. Cameron, I love you, man. In one sense, I want to tell you go get a prostitute, but I know right now they don't even have prostitutes out there. But I don't want you to do that. I know you've been good. Cameron, what I tell you and what I tell myself is wake up early, eat a healthy breakfast, go for a walk. I know it's still a little bit cold in Kansas, but bundle up and go for a walk. Listen to your music. Try to do something you don't want to do, like a chore, clean your room, some type of chore, whether it's cleaning your room, doing the laundry, then take a lunch break, go for another walk, listen to music, try to do something creative. Maybe if you always wanted to start a blog, do a video on YouTube, do something. Take another break, have lunch, maybe call someone you like, have a quick conversation, masturbate at night, and then go to bed and then try to just do it again, one day at a time, brother. One day at a time. How do you get through a mental health crisis? One day at a time. Go for a walk. Do something you need to do. Laundry, hygiene, etc. Stay focused on your routine. How do you get through a healthcare crisis? Structure of a good routine, one day at a time, healthy habits, and go forward. God bless you. See me? This divorce has been the worst experience, love to you. But I think it will be better in the long term. I totally agree. I think every divorce happens for a reason. And I think you should get divorced, and it will be a painful 3 years. But after that, you'll feel joy again. You'll live a better life. I think that's fact. That's what I've seen in my own life. So today, I'm getting ready to be living in my car come Monday, okay? Any suggestions to place to go over park at night? Truck stops are still open. There may be some Walmarts that still allow it. Campgrounds, it depends which state. There may be some that are reopening. So I would look at your state campgrounds. I would look at your private campgrounds to be a tent camper in those campgrounds. If you're out west, you could go dispersed camping. I think that's still open in those rural areas. So one is it'll depend on your state. Okay. And then next is you got to look at the campgrounds. That's a legal, safe place to park as a tent camper. And then two is if you don't have that, truck stops, rest areas, and Walmarts, if you can, that's going to be suspect now because a lot of them aren't 24/7. And then you're just going to have to be mindful to keep it moving and to not stay too long at one spot. That's kind of like my general advice. Rita, hey, Rita. No, one of the problems of this virus is nobody took it seriously. I agree. Not even Trump. I agree. Me as a Canadian has to pay for healthcare through my income taxes. Love you. Yes, well, we have to pay through healthcare through our personal wallet. And if you deduct it, we pay a higher percentage out of our wallet than you do percentage of your taxes. And a lot of Americans decide not to have health care, and that's the number one cause of bankruptcy in America, medical bills. And in a state like Florida, where I pay the highest car insurance in the country because many people in Florida don't have car insurance, when you have a country where some people don't pay car insurance and others do, your rates go higher. Okay, so when you have a country that doesn't have some people paying for health care and other people do, the people who pay for health care, they pay a higher premium. So we pay more than you. You may pay 5% of your taxes go to health care, but we have to spend at least 10% out of our income to pay for health care. And if you don't have a job, you don't have a health care. Okay, so you still pay less. We pay more for health care, and we have worse health problems. Okay. So you rather pay for it out of your taxes, because even if your taxes went up 5%, it would still be cheaper than coming out of your pocket 10%. You see what I'm saying? Because when you pull a bunch of people together in, your deductibles go down. Okay. There's a reason that we have mandated car insurance, but there's also a reason that car insurance is the highest in Florida, because many people in Florida decide not to get car insurance. They take the risk and they make the premiums go up for the people who abide by what needs to be done. So that's why universal health care was adopted in every other first world country. America is the only first world country that doesn't have universal health care. And we show it through our facts. It's the number one cause of bankruptcy. Trump has been bankruptcy. It shows by our level of lack of health capacity, lack of humanity. It shows that during a healthcare crisis, we're talking about guns. So let me tell you something. If Florida was in Canada, I would live in Canada tomorrow. That's truth. Okay. So if you don't like your universal health care and you want to come pay for it yourself, you come to America, and then also come to some conservative states where there's not a lot of job opportunity, and where they pay you $12 if you're lucky to work at Walmart with no health care. So Rita, I hope you're old too. You can come work in America for no health care. My mom worked till she was 70 years old in a supermarket. Her knee gave out on her. Okay. So let me tell you something, Rita. Come down to America. Get rid of your health care and come pay for it yourself, like all of us other Americans. Okay. And see how you like it. See how you like it. It may be eye-opening to you. It really may. Jay Bird, thumbs up to you. See me, great talk. I'm doing the best I can. 79 Sweetness, right on, thank you. And see me, thank you for that super chat. I love that mic emoji. That makes me happy. Angel, God bless you, man. I saw your comment today, man. Trump may be bipolar, but there's no excuse to allow someone to abuse their power. Like, if your father is bipolar, that doesn't give him the right to abuse you emotionally. And I think my father may have been. A mental disorder or an emotional disorder doesn't give you the right to abuse your power or your position. Never forget it. Just because someone has a mental or emotional disability, it doesn't give them the right to abuse you. And that's a powerful statement. I hope you remember that one, guys. I really do. There's no excuse for it. And people that have a bipolar disorder, they should never have the right to own a gun, because they can't even control their emotions. So how can they control a weapon of mass destruction? And if you look back at all the mass shootings in America, I wonder why there's not that many in Canada. Hey, Rita, I wonder why in America here we got better access to guns than we do healthcare. You want to come to America and send your children to school where we do gun drills? If you're diagnosed with bipolar, there's no way you should have a right to have a gun. No way. We're going down a bad road, man, as a country. Bad leadership, man. Really are. Backwards. Not good. Mars, forgive me for saying that wrong. Do you know about the thing about Iran and Trump, like men? What's next? Wonder what else will happen this year. Yeah, I saw that Trump, good to see you, Maurice. I saw Trump said something about Iran, but it was just like deflection. Because at this point, a healthcare crisis really at this point has nothing to do with Iran. So I don't know the particular issue you're talking about. If you want to say like particularly, then we can certainly talk on it, but I don't want to assume I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I think. Stone Ape, what's up, brother? Don't you think if the Democratic Party wanted to beat Trump, they would come up with someone better than Biden. It's all disgrace. Well, yeah, I do agree that, Biden to me is not a great choice. I think Bernie or Andrew Yang would have been better. However, if I have to go into a store and I have two choices, I'm not going to not eat because I don't have good choices. Everyone who doesn't vote is a disgrace to society. And that's where I disagree with Colin Kaepernick. He used his First Amendment right, but he didn't vote. He's a disgrace. That's what I think. So if you don't vote, guys, don't watch my channel. Because, guys, there's every day of my life, I got to make decisions that I don't have the ideal choice. So I make the best choice. Okay. So, guys, I'd rather have had Hillary Clinton. The majority of people voted for Hillary Clinton, but Trump won electoral, so Trump got elected. I still went to work. I didn't riot. I didn't protest. And when people protested, Trump said that was staged. And these protests are staged also. These gun right protests are staged. And look, if he gets reelected, I'm not going to protest. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to be productive, positive. I'm not going to break the law. Unless there's some type of major abuse or something like that, obviously. But I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. I believe in Medicare at 60. I believe in the Democratic principles more than I believe in the Republican principles. That's truth. So that's where I stand. And like I say, it's okay to be independent-minded. It's okay to lean however you want to lean. But if you don't vote, to me, like Stoned Ape, you like weed, right? What would happen if all the people who voted to get weed legal didn't vote? You would be smoking illegal weed. I know about that because I used to smoke that when I was younger. I think it's, even though I don't really think, I know weed didn't help me. It made me dumber and lazier. However, I'm glad that it's legal because I think for some people it may be a better substitute than prescription drugs. So, and I got no problem with guns being legal. However, I got a problem with people who have a mental disability and have a gun right, or people who didn't stand with the NFL players for taking a knee for their First Amendment right, but they stand for the Second Amendment right. So, guys, I think that's very fair. But for some people, it's never fair enough. That's true. Jay Bird, Super Soaker, you remember that? Hey, yeah, let's take a hydration break, Jay Bird. Jay Bird, I'm thankful for you, Samuel. The love and the respect is reciprocal. Thank you, Jay Bird. I get sick of listening to Trump. It's hard to listen to. Now, I want to be fair. Any president after 4 years or 8 years, hard to listen to. But, because I got to be honest, even after 8 years of hearing Obama, I would get frustrated with him that he wouldn't sometimes just speak bluntly. Okay? So, but at the same time, I don't like where Trump took us, whether it was during his election run or now. But guys, I mean, look, over the past year, I haven't really been barking about Trump. I mean, I make my comments because, I don't feel him in certain ways. But I've been making a real stand here because he's been getting worse and worse. He's handled this crisis horribly. I don't beat him up for not seeing a 100-year pandemic coming. But I beat him up when in the middle of a pandemic, he's talking about for people to stand up and liberate themselves from states and to exercise their Second Amendment right. Guys, what? He instituted the stay at home. He started the flatten the curve. Okay? So, it's just crazy. I appreciate you. Appreciate me, Jay Bird. Thank you. Xander, loved your first live feed from last night. Well, thank you. Delivered such passion. Well, I really mean it. Again, they tell you don't talk about sex, politics, or religion because it's going to cut your audience in half, and that's true. You do better if you speak to the masses with a Disney commercial, with a basic, but you're not, but I decided when I did my YouTube channel, it was going to be about what I wanted to be, whether it was talking about living out of my car, whether it's talking about sex, politics, whatever. So, you can only suppress your passion so long, especially in a creative space, such as a vlog. I could sit here and come up with 5 million different videos about downsizing, and I talk about that because it means something to me. I'm passionate about that. But if I'm passionate, especially during a pandemic where entire society shut down, I want to speak on it. And I want to speak on it for every person who is a conservative or Trump supporter or liberal or whatever, that that they make comments in their videos, but they don't want to make a stand. They allude to the fact that they agreed with something Trump said or they disagree, but they don't want to make a stand because they don't want to lose their views. They're assholes. And they're indifferent. They're apathetic. I don't like those type of people. I'd rather just know, like, look, this is what you stand for. And I'll say, look, then I have to make a decision. Do I want to be part of this movement or not? Okay. Because you always got to say, if someone's not willing to, like, say where they stand on an issue, when times when times are tough and you're next to them, how are they going to, they're going to do the same thing with you. They're going to be like Peter. Like Peter was hanging out with Jesus every day, man. And then Jesus got arrested. And the police officers were like, well, we're going to arrest him too. He was with Jesus. And then Peter said, well, I don't know the guy. And he denied Jesus 3 times, man. I don't want blind loyalty. I don't want Trump supporter loyalty. I don't want, like Trump said, I don't want my supporters to see me shoot someone on 6th Avenue and feel like they can't rat on me. Because I think blind loyalty will destroy your life. I just want to be around other people that during a healthcare crisis are not making their primary focus a gun crisis. Got no problem with a healthy person, healthy mind, having a gun. If that's what they're right and that's what they want and they're doing it safely. I got a problem that with 36,000 Americans dead and counting, that instead of talking about testing, we're talking about guns. And I'm talking about it because I'm not dodging the issue. That's what the leader of our country has brought to the forefront of the conversation. If the forefront of the conversation was about testing, then we would have a video tonight about, is there enough testing? Now, to be truthful too, you got to spice it up because it's entertainment. Trump is an entertainer. I'm an entertainer, to be honest. And some of the things that I put on my live feed as topics, if I was the president, I wouldn't have as a live feed. You know, as an entertainer on social media, I have a greater creative liberty to just speak to the people I want to speak to as a niche. If I decide to run for a president, I am taking responsibility to speak to the masses. It's not an entertainment position. I can be entertaining, but my job is to govern. It's to lead. My job here, I can take liberties because my job is really only to be a YouTube entertainer. It's not to govern or set laws, rules, and regulations. So if I was the president, I would be handling things a little bit different. I'd still be myself, but I would be mindful of a couple different things the way I would approach it. You have to be. If you're going to be responsible. If not, you're going to be deplorable. So, that's how you look at life. BRN MDS. So today, if you're starting to live in your car, depends where you live. That's true. You're out west, you could camp on BLM, which stands for Building of Land Management, a Bureau of Land Management by the government. That's free land. Also in Florida, there's the Water Management District, but that got shut down during the coronavirus crisis. Or maybe hotels parking. Now, hotel parking, you just got to be careful because technically that's illegal. I mean, I would never make a citizen's arrest, and I've stealth camped before. But you just have to be mindful not to make it a habit because you could get in trouble. That's all. Easy. When the Second Amendment was passed, the guns were musket loaders, not assault rifles. A musket loader wasn't an instant killer or dozens of people. Yeah, guys, look, I mean, that's how we killed off the Indians, the Native Americans. They were using bows and arrows. And the Europeans just made their weapons more sophisticated. And that's how they took the land. Look, the origins of America is not some place that was founded based on freedom and liberty. The origins of America was based on robbery, theft, and rape. Okay? I mean, it is what it is. We've evolved, and I think we have a lot of great principles. And I love the principles of America. Like Martin Luther King would say, I don't like sometimes the actions of America. But we have to say, American history is Europeans came over here and through force took the land. Okay. Now the Native Americans, they had their own tribal warfare. They weren't angels either. But it's all, part of history. It is. But to be fair, you can look at any country, whether it's Saudi Arabia, Africa, Ireland, you could look at any of those countries and you will see the same type of back and forth division through different forms. There's no country, no culture in the world that didn't have barbaric ways of territorial takeovers. Societies evolve. Even to this day, governments and powers to be work on overthrowing governments. And so, guys, like I guarantee you America has spies in China. I guarantee you. And I guarantee you China has spies in America. And you can name any country, and there's a spy there from some other country. So it's just the way the world is, too. I mean, sometimes I have to calm myself down where I say, Sam, you're trying to make Earth heaven. You ain't never going to make Earth heaven. No matter who you vote for, no matter what you do, you're never going to make this world heaven. And sometimes I gotta wake myself up and say, Sam, you're going too crazy. You just have to accept the world's always going to be a little bit of a dookie emoji. However, you want to speak up because it's through people who've spoken up that's caused evolution and human progress and a greater level of civility. So it's that balance that you have to find in your mind that you accept, like no matter how much you strive for it, life ain't never going to be perfect. However, if you don't strive at all, nothing going to get better. It's a balance. Let's continue to read. Graham. Hey, Sam. 2 weeks holiday of work now. Life is good. I'm glad for you, Graham. Enjoy your 2 weeks. Try doing as best you can in limited stuff you can enjoy, but God bless you, Graham. BRN MDes. Too many people with mental issues owning guns. That's a virus, too. I totally agree. Guys, if you have a mental health crisis, there's no shame in that. I don't shame people that have a mental health crisis. I think all of us go through that at times, some more severe than others. But guys, during a mental health crisis, you should seek mental health, not gun. Not a gun, okay? But in America, we don't value health care. Why? Because it's not an amendment. It's not a right. Health care is not a right in America. Your gun is a right. So you can have a gun, but bad mental health. And that's why we have more school shootings than any other country in the world. More mass shootings. Why does America have the most deaths in the world for coronavirus? Why do we have the most mass shootings in the whole world? Are we the best country in the world, or have we become out of balance? The way we look at the value of a gun versus the value of healthcare. I think we're out of balance. Easy. Headlines this week. Millionaires to reap 80%. They made it. Guys, beyond all. Now, I did some videos about it because that's the realest shit that I can get. There was a big money grab during this coronavirus crisis. And it may even be the root cause of it. But it wasn't your $1,200 check. It was the corporate bailouts. It was the junk bond buying by the Federal Reserve. It was companies that lobby the government every day. There was a big shift of money. Okay. And that will eventually come to light maybe decades down the road. There was a lot behind everything in life is all about money. Okay. So it's sad, but it's the way the world works. Let's continue to read. She goes, 80% to reap the benefit from the tax change in the U.S. coronavirus stimulus package. That's 43,000 people paying $70.3 billion less in taxes. Disgusting. Guys, I wouldn't care if they got rid of all taxes because we print money. We were $22 trillion in debt as a country before the crisis. We're about $25 trillion in debt now. However, guys, if we're going to print money, I'm okay with you saying let's abolish the tax laws, but let's at least provide basic health services and basic income for the people. But the powers to be, the way they structure society, they don't want it like that. So, I mean, I can understand it a little bit, but it's a little bit of a scam. Paul, guns might kill the virus. Okay. I don't think I want to be around you. Right. The gap between poor and wealthy will be even larger after this. It will. That is fact. The wealth gap in America has grown at the same level. Right now, the wealth gap in America is the same it's been when it was at the Great Depression in 1929. The middle class grew between 1940 to 1980. For those 40 years, the middle class actually grew. From about 1980 or so to 2020, the middle class has been shrinking. So for 40 years, from 1940 to 1980, the middle class was growing. From 1980 to 2020, for that 40 years, the middle class was shrinking. So we're pretty much right back as far as percentage with wealth gap at the same from the Great Depression. However, to be fair, I think society is a lot better with a lot more opportunity to earn an income than it is in 1929. So I think there's opportunity out there, but I think there's a lot of imbalance, especially for people at the lower end or middle class end. And I think it's unnecessary because why would we give corporate incentives when corporations aren't even paying a living wage with basic health care for people working basic jobs? I'm not saying they have to, but they should be able to afford rent, afford health care, and afford a decent life. You couldn't do that working a basic job. And you say, Sam, well, that's not a job you're supposed to work your whole life. Hey, guys, look, my mom worked basic jobs her whole life, okay? She worked a couple of them. Some people, that's what they're able to do, okay? That's the middle class, okay? So some of their children, they move up, they become engineers, they become doctors maybe, and that's great. But there's some people, they work basic jobs. They're workers. I remember one time I was working in an office, and we had a cleaning guy, and he had to make probably about $10 an hour with no health care, no retirement. Worker. And his boss was busting his chop. They were a vendor of ours. We paid them, a vendor. And I used to like this guy because, look, every time I looked around, the place was clean. He never caused a problem. And he played the game a little bit. He took long breaks and stuff. But the shit was clean. He didn't cause any problems. So to me, it is what it is. And we had people above him. They were doing other shit, but I won't even say it. But I'm on my business. You know what I mean? As long as I'm on my business. But they basically wanted to fire this guy because he was taking a long break. Now, there was only so much say we can have in it because, again, he didn't work directly for us. We paid the company, the cleaning company, and the cleaning company hired him. But we called the owner of the cleaning company in. And I said, I want to speak on this. I said, why are you going to fire this guy? And he said, well, he's taking long breaks. I said, well, did we complain about him taking long breaks? We're paying you, right, for him to be here. So if we're not complaining, why would you fire? And it was, well, if you guys don't mind. And then when there was like a debate that, well, Sam, we should really have him fired. And I see how long breaks some of the big dogs take. Some of the big dogs were taking longer breaks than him. But the low man on a totem pole has no one speaking for him. So sometimes people say, Sam, if you're doing good, why do you even care? You should just be thankful. Because, guys, when you're doing good in life, your job is not to step over the person that needs a voice. When you're in a position of power or an elevated position, even if you're doing good, it's not just to be thankful. It's to you have to oversee. Maybe you have to be a voice for someone who really doesn't have your level of leverage. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't see that, man. Just like the one guy on YouTube today, he's an overweight guy. He worked for the state park. He was a government worker his whole life. He's collecting a government pension. The government gave him his livelihood, fed his children. And he made a post today that he doesn't want the government involved in certain aspects of his life. Well, you know what? That he should have never worked for the government because it was a blessing in his life, not a curse. But a lot of the middle class from years ago who's sitting on pensions and annuities, they have become the most conservative in society. All of a sudden, now they're conservative. Just like Donald Trump, they were born in New York City. They made their money in a liberal state. And then they retired, they moved to a conservative state, and they became a nasty conservative person. I don't know what happened to them. They forgot where they came from. They forgot how they got what they got. It's a disgrace, in my opinion. Let's continue. Bree, honestly, Sam, thank you so much for helping me through my bad days. Well, Bree, that's a blessing that you would tell me that, and I appreciate that. Guys, we all have bad days. I mean, life is full of them. I wish it wasn't like that. I really do. I wish it was all good days, guys. I wish every live feed I could just talk about beach and bikinis. And I wish that was life. But right now, my life is not beach and bikinis. Even though Jacksonville opened its beaches today for exercise only. You can't take a suntan. You can't take a suntan and you can't gather. But right now, life is not beaches and bikinis. It's technically not. You can't do it. Right now, we are under a national healthcare crisis for a virus that killed 36,000 Americans and counting. And we're debating guns, and guns can't cure a virus. So what is my video about today? It's about why are we debating guns and not testing? I'd rather it be about, damn, I want to have sex with that Latino MILF because I saw her on the beach in a bikini today. But that's not the case. It's a bad day. It was a bad day in New Jersey today. It was cold. It was windy. I haven't worked out in 2 months. I mean, I'm still walking every day. I'm trying to eat as healthy as possible. But guys, it's a bad day. But like Bree said, just trying to get through a bad day, one day at a time, until better days come. I believe better days are coming. I believe that one day I will return to South Florida. I will be on the sandy beaches with the tropical aqua Caribbean water. And that one day, I will be able to judge a Latino MILF, not on the content of her character, but on the beauty of her looks. Because to me, that matters. I'm just playing. Let's stay positive. Very detailed. Trump's the best we got. Biden is the worst. Well, I totally disagree with you. I ain't going to block you, but you're close. Yeah, you're on thin ice, man. I may block you. Yeah, you're blocked. Sorry, woohoo. Go pay off your jet ski, man. BM Medez, thumbs up to you also. Universal. I already hit the thumbs up. I do appreciate everyone clicking that thumbs up. Can we get up to 100? I got 41 right now. Universal. Trump is a true nightmare. You're in here for life. Jaybert. Mexicans and Canadians are wanting the wall now. Can't say I blame them. Yeah, guys, look, Mexico, Trump even said it, Mexico bent over backwards to get the oil deal done. You say, Sam, why would we want oil prices to go up? Because Trump's friends and many in society make money off oil. Okay. We already subsidize it. So right now, what Trump did was he brokered a deal with Russia and with Saudi Arabia to increase the oil price by decreasing oil production. Why? Because he didn't want the oil industry to get in trouble. He didn't want to do the Green New Deal. He doesn't want to work on alternative energy. He wants to work on more coal, oil. That's the type of guy he is. He ran on that. Guys, I'm telling you right now, down the road, you're going to see a global climate crisis. Just like the virus. It was a science thing. The CEO of Hess Oil already admitted 2 weeks ago that climate change is real. Now, I told my mom today that, look, it's only 50 degrees in New Jersey, and it's going to take 100 more years of climate change before I will ever live in New Jersey, at least. I wish climate change was, if it was 200 years ago, by now, Canada would be South Florida, and I would move to Canada and have universal health care and be hot as hell in Canada. But we're not there yet. So, what I can tell you is, let's stay positive. Ball and thug. How many deaths from COVID are elderly citizens? A lot. And on Medicare, probably a lot, but thank God we have Medicare, right? I think about that. Like today we're debating guns. I think about what if we never passed Medicare and Social Security? When did we pass Medicare and Social Security? After the Great Depression. So technically that's a socialist program. So I think about the political climate in society now, the culture where people are clutching their guns, not clutching their grandma. I think about all those people right now that are walking around the streets with their guns. Why aren't they by their elderly parent? That's what I think. And I think, honestly, I don't think they would have ever voted for Medicare or Social Security. I think they would rather their grandmother die without health care. Why? Because during a health care crisis, they're not by their grandparents. I mean, come on, what type of people are we dealing with? Bad people, in my opinion. And And then he goes, would you like to translate that number into dollars? No, I'd rather translate the number into dollars about how much we went in debt to prop up the corporations. I'd rather translate into dollars before the crisis we did a corporate tax cut. I like to translate into dollars that we increased military spending for deficits, and we didn't have a military intelligence to give us an update on the virus, and that failed us. So I would like to calculate all the wasted money on the military, on the corporate tax incentives, and on now we're buying junk bonds. We are buying unlimited amounts of junk bonds on the Wall Street. Why don't you add that up before you add up how much we paid for Medicare? When you come back with that number, let me know, okay? Because it's probably somewhere in the trillions, okay? And we'll go from there. Milano, Simi. Bob Wells has like a map where you can camp government land. Bob Wells out there trying to raise. Bob Wells did a video yesterday, said he wanted to raise $10,000. He encouraged any viewers to give $10,000 to his nonprofit that he gets paid from. And what would he do if you donated $10,000? He said, I'll make a sacrifice if you donate $10,000 that I will sleep in an RV park for a month. And what do I tell you? I tell you that's a scam because I ran a nonprofit. And the only way you can help society is if the government helps them because the government prints money. Bob Wells doesn't print money. He begs for $10,000 so that he can get paid and pay his overweight assistant that's living in a Toyota Prius and have a high administrative cost while he masturbates in an RV park for a month. I'd rather just tell you, send me $20,000, I'll give you a dick pic. Why? Because I think that's more genuine. Okay. So, guys, let's keep it real. Blanton, stay safe, guys. Stay positive. Blanton, you get in that stock market. I am not against the stock market. I think you should play with the stocks, but the stocks are going to destroy your life at one point. You're going to lose a lot of money, especially as you enter into the single stock mode. That's where I lost my most money in life. But I don't regret it, and I don't tell you shouldn't do it. But I'm telling you right now that retirement and basic dignity should not be tied to the stock market. And that's why we go into more debt propping up the stock market than anything else. The reason society shifted from the pensions and annuities to 401ks is because they wanted you to take all the risk. And if the stock market goes down, they want you to allow the government to bail out corporations so your 401k doesn't tank. The reason Wall Street tied the 401k to your retirement and replaced it, they replaced pensions and annuities. That's when the middle class was growing from 1940 to 1980. That's when you have pensions and annuities. After 1980, 1978, Wall Street came up with the 401k, which is directly tied to an index fund. So now you can put it in a money market, but most people don't. They just let it go, whatever, index fund. And what they did was they put all the risk on you, okay, and they made you be a cheerleader for the government to intervene on the stock market, because if the stock market goes down too low, you are begging the government to bail them out so that your retirement isn't decimated. They wanted you to root for the stock market because they wanted your dignity to be tied into a ticker, a Dow Jones ticker that is manipulated by all the big executives, including Steve Mnuchin, who is right now currently the Treasury Secretary, who architected the bill for the bailout. He was sued for bad business practices when he was an executive at Goldman Sachs. He foreclosed on people during the Great Recession and was sued for bad brokerage deals. This is the man that just orchestrated the tax cuts for the corporations. Guys, that is a national disgrace. However, it kept your 401k from tanking. So, amen. That's where we're at. Jones, vote blue no matter what. I tend to align with Democrats more. So, guys, when in doubt, I vote Democratic. Why? I think they're both scam artists, but I want to get scammed less. And Joe Biden wants Medicare at 60. Trump wants to keep stripping away health care. And he ran up the deficit. What'd you get in return? You got 36,000 dead. You got 22 million unemployed. Right now we have to save. The government has to save every small business owner and corporations. And who's going to pay for that? the everyday person, a taxpayer. That's national debt. So guys, I'd rather of us went in debt and had universal health care, basic income. We're already in debt. Disaster. So come on, guys. Not a hard choice for me. Biden, blue. Easy. Jones, I think Biden picking a woman as VP. I hope he gets a strong VP because we know Biden may die in the first 4 years. We already know Biden has dementia. But guys, I'd rather vote for a dead squirrel than Trump. So I'll vote for Biden even though he has dementia. I hope he puts AOC as the vice president. But I don't think he will. I think Trump, I think AOC in 2024 if Trump wins 2020. And that'll make me happy. But I hope Trump puts someone good there. I hope Biden puts someone good as his VP. Because Biden, he may pass away in 4 years. That's true. BRN MDes, blue, I agree with that. Jaybird Blue Heart, I agree with that. Jaybird Checkmark, I agree with that. Rob, great show, Sam, thank you. There were protests in Trenton. What up with that? Well, Trenton's a disaster. Even before the virus, I spent time in Trenton. Total disaster, let's be honest. So, I don't know how to call that. But what I can tell you is this. That the places that are the most disaster are usually the places throughout the country, whether it's rural country land or inner city, that there is the biggest wealth gap, the biggest social economic injustices in the country. And statistics have even shown that the coronavirus has attacked the minorities and places where there's a big discrepancy of social economic injustices. Trump even acknowledged that. So did the scientists and doctors. So, America has bigger issues to tackle than gun control at this point. But we're not focusing on that, and that's true. BVT. Hello, Sam. Hello to you. From the Palmetto State, south to the Palmetto State, South Carolina, that is. And I hope that your Republican congressman gets voted out. I hate him. Pray for us. We are facing possible storms. I will, brother. I love you. Oh, had 20 tornadoes. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Same time last week and killed 9 people. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Stay safe, brother. I will. I love you, brother. God bless you. And God bless everyone in South Carolina, man. Thank you. BVT. It's called speaking for those who need a voice. I agree with that. Good on you for standing up for the cleaning guy. Yep. Thank you. Good for you, Sam. Good for you also. I appreciate you staying with me. I appreciate you, brother. Shout out to South Carolina. Sam, you are a voice, not an echo. I try to do the best I can. Thank you. I love you, Sam. I love you too. Thank you. You are the real deal. I'm not perfect, and I appreciate your compliment. Thank you, brother. I'm an imperfect person just like everyone else. So I don't think too highly of myself. However, I don't think too lowly of myself. I think I'm just a human trying to do the best I can. I appreciate your love, BBT, and I will pray for South Carolina and those storms pass. And God bless you, man. H5G. I found myself alone. I'm in a prison with no charge. Hashtag bullet. What was that? From the Nas song on It Was Written? Jones. Not every day is a good day. That's damn true. Live anyway. That's damn true too. Thank you, Jones. Jones laughing. Block him a good one. I hate to do that because Woo was a good viewer. And I showed him a lot of love. And I thought, he knows. Look, at this point, guys, if you watch my videos, and Woohoo watched my videos long enough, he already knows where I stand. And I'm done with, he knew he was going to get blocked for saying it. And if he didn't know, he knows now. I love him. I hope he pays off his jet ski. But, guys, I cut off my father. He was a Trump supporter. So if someone from YouTube don't think I'm going to block them, if they're a Trump supporter. Now, if you're a Trump supporter and you just want to watch me, and you don't want to say Trump 2020 or I won't vote for Biden, then you can watch. But let's be honest, I don't want to lie to you either. I don't want to lie like we're going to be cool. Because there's a different mindset of someone who's going to vote for Trump versus Biden. Just like there was a different mindset of someone who voted for Trump and didn't vote for Clinton. We have different mindsets. Do I want anything bad to happen to you? No. Do I want to share my life with you? No. Let's be honest, I don't. Now, I can lie to you to keep you as a viewer, to manipulate you, but I don't. So, I'm not saying I'm going to get along with everyone that votes for Joe Biden. And I hope Joe Biden picks a good VP because I think he's got dementia. Okay? But, guys, that's how I feel tonight. Pause and effect. I like that name. Hey, everyone. How was your Saturday? We're doing the best we can. Arch, what's up, man? Jones, I block all Trump supporters on my Facebook page. It's sad, but it's the true way of life. Mr. Smith, Sam, I fear Cuomo will beat AOC in 2020. That'd be a close one. I don't know if Cuomo would run, but that'd be interesting. If he can get New York to a better position than it was before the pandemic, all I know is Cuomo has done a better job, in my opinion, with his leadership than Trump. And he gave Trump compliments, but Trump wanted more and more and more. He wanted him to kiss his ass and not question him. And so, yeah, I mean, I would rather have Cuomo or AOC running against Trump right now. So, but right now, all we got is Biden. And like I said, if I had to pick between a dead squirrel and Trump, I'd pick a dead squirrel. So, Marcy, just checking in, Sam. Stay safe. Thank you, Marcy. Arch, laughing. Watch it be the virus was a leak in some lab. Well, if it was, I'll blame our defense that we just spent trillions of dollars on. We just spent trillions of dollars to go in debt to build up our military. Part of our military is intelligence. Now, the same intelligence that said we had weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. So if these intelligence officers in the army didn't know that this was a biological weapon, I won't blame China. I'll say, why did we just increase our spending? Like Trump took away spending from the World Health Organization because they failed. If this turns out that this was a biological weapon, or even now, the fact that our CIA didn't know about this was a defense failure from the U.S. So already, I think they failed. And we should strip away the funding for the defense, and we should put it into healthcare. That's what I think. Apathy. Sam, I think you have missed my comment. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for retyping it. Guys, if I ever miss your comment, it may have got blocked inadvertently or something like that, or like screened by YouTube. Just type it again, and I'll read it. I apologize, Apathy. She goes, have you noticed that Trump can't be shamed? No. A psychopath or a narcissist or a prideful man can never be shamed. You cannot make him have empathy. That's not who he is. He'll never be that way. You can never change your abusive husband. He will always be abusive. It's just the way life is. Even after Stormy said that he looked like a tiny mushroom. Well, guys, look, you can have a tiny penis and still get hot chicks if you have confidence. And Stormy Daniels said that's why she did have sex with Trump, because he had confidence. And a lot of insecure men who clutched their gun, they voted for Trump because they say, oh, I wish I could be as tough as him. But the reality is they're really insecure men. Because if you do feel confident about who you are and how you can handle yourself, you don't need to be as much bravado as Trump. You know what I mean? You don't need to, you know what I mean? I learned that lesson. Like, you don't need to have a fancy car to get with a hot chick. And if you need a fancy car to get with a hot chick, she's going to end up banging some guy in a beat-up Honda Civic that has good confidence. Okay. So what you learn in life through maturity, if you're a decent person, is that your confidence and your empathy and humility make you a real man. Your confidence without empathy and humility make you an arrogant scumbag. And that's what Trump is. Jamar, are you an AC? Nope. I've been through there though. Good to see you. Mr. Smith, we need to stop all foreign aid until we can get out of this shit together as a country. I don't want to stop foreign aid to our allies. I don't know why we would. So to me, how were we able to get Osama bin Laden? We had Air Force bases in Iraq. Without a foreign presence, without allies, guys, America is only, I don't know what it is, only less than 10% of the world's population. America in population to the world is a very small percentage. Without our allies, without a coalition, guys, we would be destroyed. So, to me, in a crisis, I don't know why you would want to cut ties with friends, with allies, especially if you're making more enemies, both foreign and domestic. So to me, it's not strategic. Like even when Trump was talking tough to China, guys, how'd that work out? So a lot of people said, finally, we have a president that talks tough to China. How'd that work out? Horrible it looks like, right? So I don't think the answer is cutting off financial ties and talking tough to people. See, Trump thinks if you talk tough to someone long enough, they'll submit to you and just do what you want. But guys, not everyone is scared of a bully. Okay? Doesn't work like that in life. So if America thinks it can be a bully its rest of its existence, it ain't going to exist long. That's the way life goes. It's true. See me? But who could predict climate crisis when China is telling Trump it's not a TV, it's no TV an issue? I missed that one. Laughing. It's crazy, man. See me? I struggle with blocking and cutting people off versus trying to positively influence them. You have to do what you need to do, see me, and I love you. I try to be a supportive, empathetic person, and I still am, but not to my inner circle. So when I'm in the general population, in society, in a store, at the workplace, I always am going to try to be a peacemaker, a collaboratory person, not a divider. In my personal space, which right now on social media, on this platform, this is my personal space. That's how I look at it. Some people look at it differently. I don't want alternative viewpoint. So I do agree with you, but why I'm telling you it's very important that in your personal space, in your sanctuary, you have a small circle is because that's your sanctuary, that's your refuge. I am a firm believer that in society, we shouldn't be having riots about guns. We should be having unity about general health care. This is my personal space. In my personal space, I have very passionate, narrow-viewed points I want to talk about. To regroup myself. Somewhat a vent. So what I'm trying to tell you, if you let too much into your personal space, what you're going to realize is you're not changing anyone and they're changing you. Now again, I can't make that general statement. I'm a YouTuber. I'm just an entertainer. I'm like Donald Trump when he did The Apprentice. I'm just an entertainer. If I was the president, my inner circle would have to include opposite viewpoints if I was going to be a righteous leader. So there are different protocols for your position in life. Now, again, if you're a YouTuber, you don't have to have a broad perspective. You can be very narrowed and you're focused. If you're doing the show The Apprentice, you could fire everyone. There's a different protocol for your position. There's an abuse when you don't respect different protocols. And that's what you have right now. You have a man in a powerful position abusing his power for his failed leadership. If Trump was on The Apprentice, he would be fired. That's how poor of a job he did. 36,000 Americans dead, 22 million unemployed. If he went before the board of his children, he hired his children as his top executors. He put his children in a position to be on the board of a healthcare crisis. What a fucking disgrace. His children are also game hunters. Okay, they kill animals for no reason, just for trophies. This is the type of fucking despicable people these are. Deplorables. There's a different protocol. Let's take our dressing break. I appreciate if you guys click that thumbs up. Oh, we have 47 right now. Can we get to 100 tonight? Jimmy, if you were a betting man, who do you think would win next presidential election? I'm going to say Biden, just out of a little bit of hope. I mean, Hillary Clinton technically won the last one. But my hope is, even if Biden doesn't win, I believe that will serve us better in the long run for 2024. You maybe get AOC. But I'm believing that Biden will. I will vote for Biden. I'll vote for a dead squirrel before I vote for Trump. But I have hope that even if he doesn't win, we'll get someone even better in 2024, and the country will be even worse shape. Because how did we get Barack Obama? Because Bush almost destroyed the country in 4 years when 9/11 happened in his watch. We gave him another 4 years, and he almost totally destroyed the country with the financial crash. So if we give Trump another 4 years after he almost destroyed the country with denying science and denying healthcare perspective, then basically he'll totally destroy the country in another 4, and we're going to get the most liberal, socialist president you ever seen in your world. So either way, in my opinion, we're going to win. So just a matter of time. Jiggly, 2020 Bill Gates coming to town near you. Guys, so far I've seen nothing that Bill Gates did that's despicable. He's not talking about guns. Right? For me, everything that I've seen him speak on has made common sense and science sense. I haven't seen him say anything that was outrageous, such as like do a gun rally in the middle of a healthcare crisis. So I got no problem with Bill Gates as of today. Mr. Smith, we can't afford to support all our allies right now. How can you say that if we were $22 trillion in debt before this? Then before this, you thought we couldn't afford to do anything. Why do we increase military spending? Your statement is factually incorrect. So let's continue to read. Love that AOC said stop supporting Israel. Well, guys, if we support Saudi Arabia, why wouldn't we support Israel? Saudi Arabia oppresses the rights of women. We support them. So if we're going to support Saudi Arabia, we're going to support Israel. Now, I have no problem supporting Pakistan as well. Or Afghanistan as well. But guys, don't you understand? We'll support anyone if it's in our interest. Okay? And it expands to many countries, not just Israel. Saudi Arabia, in many ways, oppresses a lot of people. But they got the money bag. They got oil out the wazoo. So, guys, follow the money, man. Let's say me and you was friends. Why would you loan me money if you were in debt? Because when I can print money, I'm not in debt. That's your answer. When a country has a currency that's the world reserve and they have the ability to print money, you're never in debt because you create debt. Guys, the Federal Reserve is the world. You can never go. Guys, you print money, you're never in debt. Money's made up by the powers to be. What is money? What's the value of gold? It's all determined by the powers to be. What puts value on money? The powers to be. If everyone in society woke up tomorrow and said, I don't value money, it won't buy you food, it won't buy you health care. Guys, it's a psychological game. We've been a nation in debt for decades. Has it mattered? When has it mattered? Give me an example. How long have we been in national debt? For decades. It's never mattered. Will one day it matter? Maybe, but then it's going to be the end of an entire system. So guys, money is an illusion. All you're left with is who you are and what you're doing. So guys, gotta get on a whole nother level with that, Bland. I agree with your statement. Shouldn't be tied to the stock market. Yep. If you don't want it to, honestly, the stock market should exist, but it should be just like a Trump casino. You can go, you can play, you can win, and most people will lose. But when it goes bankrupt, it should not bring down the entire economic system. That's true. Bland, thank you for supporting my channel. I love you, brother. You're a positive young man. I think you're going to do great in life. Never, Bland, I hope you're still in here. If you decide to get a brokerage account and get margin means you're going to take credit on in your brokerage account to buy stocks. Never touch your 12-month emergency fund. Never. And be very careful with margin because that's where you're going to probably lose your most. But it's okay if you want to. That's your money. And after you work for your money and after you put 12 months of expenses in a savings account, you can play with whatever you want. But just be careful, brother. But enjoy your life. I respect you and I support you. See me? That just helped me. Inner circle. Love it. Love to you, brother. Jigglypuff. Look at the website 2020. You will understand his plan to put in a chip. Guys, your phone is already a chip that's implanted into you. How have they been tracking the spread of the coronavirus? Through your cell phone. Guys, you take your cell phone with you when you go take a shit. You sleep with your cell phone. That chip has already been implanted to you. And I carry my cell phone everywhere. I'm doing this live feed on my cell phone. You're probably watching me on your cell phone. Guys, if you're watching me on your cell phone, you don't need the chip implanted in your mind. You're looking at it through your eyes. Guys, they're tracking you right now on your cell phone. I'm not getting rid of my cell phone, are you? If you get rid of your cell phone and if you're watching me on the side of a cave, then you can say you're scared of a chip. But right now, if you're watching me on a cell phone, or if you have a cell phone, you shouldn't be scared of a chip because it's already there. And guys, I already got a vaccine in my life. I got the measles vaccine. I went to a public school. When you go to public schools, you got to have a measles vaccine, I think a polio vaccine. So guys, I've already been part of vaccines. I've already got a chip implanted in me on my cell phone. Guys, don't make too much of what it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like you can't make the world heaven. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy. Mr. Smith, Bill Gates is for population control. Which statement did he say that makes you believe that? I think guns cause more population control than Bill Gates. Guns killed more people than Bill Gates. How many mass shootings in the course of the past 5 years in America? You tell me that, Mr. Smith. We want to spit facts. How many gun violence deaths have been committed in America in the past 5-10 years? Then you tell me how many deaths Bill Gates caused. And if you could tell me with facts that Bill Gates caused more deaths than guns, then you can say that Bill Gates wants population control. But if you can't, then I would say Smith & Wesson, which is a publicly traded company on Wall Street, they're more responsible for gun control than Bill Gates. That's fact. He realizes that this world needs to take a break from making kids. I love you, but I disagree with you. Bland, I agree with you, Mr. Smith. I think I may adopt later in life. Just give someone an opportunity that otherwise could have a bad life. Love to that. Bland, we will ever paycheck the debt? Probably not. Guys, I told you before the virus that we're never paying back the $22 trillion. And now, three months later, we're never paying back the $25 trillion. But guys, guess why it doesn't matter? Because we print the money. What the dollar bill is determined every day on Wall Street. The value of the dollar is changed. Every time the Fed lowers the interest rate, that changes all the price to earning ratios on the stock market. Who controls that? The president and a board of executives determined by the Senate. So guys, it's all a monopoly game controlled by the powers to be, man. Now you got to play the game. I play the game. And to be fair, the Federal Reserve is better than being farmers. Before the Federal Reserve, before we printed money, all of us lived off the land. We were all farmers. Look at third world countries. That's how they live. You live a better existence when you have a country that can print money and it's valuable. All you have to do is go back 100 years in America before we printed money, or 200 years, whatever, and everyone lived off the land like Little House on the Prairie. And life expectancy was lower. Healthcare capacity was lower. That's why so many people died of the Spanish flu, because we didn't have good infrastructure. We didn't have a sanitary program. You didn't have trash collectors. You didn't have school systems. You didn't have hospitals. Guys, the Federal Reserve is actually a good thing in one way. However, like everything in life, it gets out of balance. Because we went from farmers to the meanest son of a bitches capitalists you ever seen in your life. Step over your damn mom for a dollar bill. Some of you people out there waiting for your mom to die to get her inheritance. What I could tell you is this. Let's go forward. Bland, like Sam has said, I found peace in downsizing. I think that less is more. Saving or investing my surplus money. There you go. You gotta have some play money. And trying to stay grounded. You're a good man. You'll figure it out. You'll go through your ups and downs, Bland. You're going to get destroyed, but you're also going to push forward. Because you're a positive person and you have a loving heart. And you're a man that tries to be as fair as possible. Never let this world steal that from you, brother. I don't care if you make $1 billion on the stock market or you lose every dollar you have. Never lose your core soul, which is you try to be a positive person. You go out there, you work, you earn your way, and you try to treat people fairly. If you can keep that, Blanton, you will always have a peace in life, even when you suffer. Okay? And I love you, brother. And then he goes, stay crowned. And remember, I was in a bad spot a couple years ago. Blanton, you're a good guy. Blanton, good advice. I have an emergency fund that is set in stone. Good. Then my 401k is matched. Always contribute up to your match, which for most companies, that's 6%. But just remember that you could keep your money in an index fund or you could put it in a money market. The conventional wisdom is you put an index fund, you never touch it. Do I give investment advice? No. I just tell you the general basics of financial health, which is earn an income, get a year's worth of expenses in a savings account, pay off your debt, and then do whatever you want with the surplus in your budget. Then anything I mostly invest in is low risk index funds, except what was the video you did today about Cambridge stock that what was that stock? I looked at it, it's got like a dividend of like 15%. Blanton, anytime the dividend is over 8%, it's very risky. It's unsustainable. However, if you're day trading, you don't care about the dividend. Okay? So, but just remember, in general speaking terms, anytime a dividend is over 8%, usually it's an unsustainable dividend, and eventually they're going to have to cut the dividend or their stock is going to tank. So just kind of remember that, general speaking terms. But do whatever you want. There's no exact science to investing. No exact science. That's why I don't give advice. I'm just sharing general things. With the exception, I made a mistake on that video I did. That's all right. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if someone who invests in stocks or anything, most businesses fail. Forget stocks. Most businesses fail. Just like Trump's. So, if people don't tell you about that they lost in most of their investments, they're not honest. Just like a gambler, if they don't tell you that they lost most of the time, they're not being truthful. Okay, number one sign of a gambler is they only tell you about their wins. And most of life is losses. You know, like I always say, a baseball player is in the Hall of Fame if he can get it right 30% of the time. If you have a batting average of 300, that means you failed 70% of your time at the plate. And so just always remember that, Ms. Smith. I'll send you the video about Bill Gates saying the world needs to slow down the birth rate after this video. All right, fair enough, brother. I love you. Blanton, Sam, you've helped me gain the confidence to make my own videos. You can do it, brother. And I want to say this, I may have sparked something in you like a spark plug in an engine, but it was always there before me and it'll be there after me because you did a video before you knew me. Never forget that. You don't owe anything to me, okay? Again, I may have sparked you, God may have used me, but you were making videos before me, it was in you before me, and long after me, you will be doing you, okay? So you always remember that if someone sparks something, if someone helps you, if someone gives you opportunity, that you don't owe them your soul. Which you owe, okay? You damn sure don't owe your fucking spiteful father like Trump. You don't owe him your soul. You don't owe him for giving you ventilators because it's his job to give you ventilators. It's his job to pay for child support. Okay? It's his fucking job. Okay? You owe it to yourself to be your best self, and that's the only person you owe. Never forget it. Everything else will put you in jail. Everything else will keep you in an abusive relationship. Like I was telling my man, see me, never keep your inner circle unhealthy. Never. It'll destroy your life. Very important. Mike Reed. And not using credit cards. That's true. Now, I use one credit card I paid off every month, but I hear you. I once was in credit card debt. Today's generation struggles with college loan debt. Okay. And that's where we have to get help to our young people. Trump never had to pay for college. Okay. He never had to worry about college or healthcare or retirement. Never. He inherited everything. And he lost most of it, but he always kept a couple million buried somewhere. And he'll fucking cut his mother's throat to get ahead. You could tell by the man he is. A fucking disgrace, in my opinion. So what I can tell you is this. We can't forget all the predatory lending and all the corruption in our colleges. Because colleges have become big business. And they're abusing our young generation that, just like you, they don't know enough to really determine the best college and the debt to income ratio. They don't, you know what I mean? And they prey on that. And do I think we should do a universal college? No. I believe in universal health care and basic income, but not universal, because I don't think everyone's meant for college. But I do think we should make college loans bankruptable. Right now, you can bankrupt your healthcare bills, but you can't bankrupt your college loan debt. And that makes colleges lend you money knowing that it's backed up and that you can't get rid of it. So let's make college loan debt bankruptable. Let's regulate the amount of cost that colleges can charge. Okay. And I think that's how we balance the educational system for higher learning. Okay. And when you get out of college, you should have the option to go into a trade school, an educational school, or something vocational. With the same parameters that you can take on some debt, but it has to be regulated how much, and that you can bankrupt it. Because when you can bankrupt your debt, the people who give you debt won't give you an extraordinary amount because they're on the hook for it. What we do currently in America is the government backs up the stock market. So the big dogs aren't really taking risk. Right now we're buying junk bonds on the stock market. The government is, and the taxpayer is paying for it. We're going into more debt. Right now, if the government didn't intervene in the stock market, the Dow Jones would be at 10,000. Because based on the price to earnings ratio, that's about what the stock market's valued at, real earnings. But because the government intervened and socialized the stock market, it's propped up. I'm okay with that. I don't want to see it crash. However, why doesn't each citizen in America get a dividend when the American citizen bailed out the stock market? So if we're sharing in the losses, we should share in the gains. A shared stock market is the only way for our economic system to continue without destruction. I really believe it. I really do. And I think we'll get there, but it'll probably be a disaster by the time we get there. Blanton, credit cards are fine if you pay them off every month. Not everyone has discipline. That's true. Now, I will admit I probably spend a little bit more knowing it's on credit card than I would cash, so there's a little balance there, but I do prefer credit card. Oh, yeah. The Cedar Fair stock, what a disaster, man. That looks very risky. Bad move. That's all right, brother. I've made a lot worse moves than that. The dividend is suspended. I knew it. There's no yield right now. Makes sense. Because of the company's hardship. That makes sense. We all learn, though, brother. Heart emoji. You're a great mentor to us in Boone. Shout out to North Carolina and South Carolina. And all of my friends that watch you. God bless you guys. I remember Sawyer and Tom Hanks. I know that sounds crazy. No, don't. We don't know each other. It's all love, man. We're connected in the spirit. I promise we're not robots. No, I believe that. I love you. Even if you're robots, guys, some of my best friends are robots. So, for me, like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Johnny 5. Right now, before we end this live, has anyone in this live chat seen the movie Johnny 5? I think that was the name of it. That damn movie with a robot, it was in the 90s. I love that movie. I felt like he was my best friend. I would probably marry a robot, to be honest with you. I would marry a robot before I married a real woman. Why? Because I just like a robot. Oh, 79 Sweetness saw that movie. I love that movie. Yeah, watch it on YouTube, Bland. It's a great movie. I think was it called Johnny 5? That was the name of the robot, Johnny 5. I think it was called Johnny 5. Yeah, that was it. Damn it. Good job, Charles. Short Circuit. Yeah, that's it. Good job. Everyone in the live chat, if you want a good movie to watch, it may even be free because it's so old. Watch the movie Short Circuit. It's a great movie. Well, it made me cry. It was a good robot movie. I like that movie. Good job. Graham, good night to you. God bless you guys. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the love. Thank you for clicking that thumbs up. I appreciate it if you click it before the end of the live chat. And I'm very thankful for all the positive people. And for all the negative people, I'll keep going forward without you, and I don't want you in my life. Jones, thank you for that tip tonight. Thank you. Carlos, love to you, brother. Keep South Florida warm for me. And I feel very thankful. Peppa Pig, God bless you. Sword Circuit was a great movie. I love that robot emoji. It's a great one. God bless everyone, guys. Thank you and have a peaceful night.